expressed on this show are not necessarily those of the management, ownership, or production of Glory 93.9 FM.
Today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Ladera Street. Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry for standout women. Wardrobe provided by Bahari Bahamas. Visit shopbahari.com. And good morning, everyone, and welcome to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM. I am your host, Michelle Malcolm, and as always, it's a pleasure to be in your company today. Thank you so much for joining us. So, listen, y'all, I am beyond honored, thrilled, excited to welcome our guests on the show today because all of these gentlemen are important, but one of them in particular is actually a statesman. And as I would have announced yesterday, we're going to be talking about immigration today, illegal immigration, and whether or not we have gone beyond the point of no return. That's what we're going to be talking about today. And I actually wanted to do this show last week and decided to postpone it to today just to accommodate his schedule, because I think that we need to hear from him today, because decades ago, this gentleman warned us about what we see happening now in the country as it relates to illegal immigration. And many people were not happy with his stance. And now the chickens have come home to roost. And so I am beyond honored to welcome to the show the one and only Mr. Loftus Roker. Mr. Roker served in Parliament from 1968 to 1987, almost 20 years of public service there, during which time he held numerous ministerial posts. However, he is perhaps best remembered for his stint as the Minister of National Security with responsibility for immigration, which he held from 1984 to 1987. I thought it was longer than 3 years. Mr. Roker became etched in Bahamian history because of his tough stance on the illegal immigration issues plaguing the country at the time under the Pindling administration in the 1980s. Today, he is retired from politics and for the most part is back to his birthplace of Acklands, even though he says he's been stuck in Nassau for a little while and he's anxious to get back home. But I'm glad he's stuck in Nassau because that way he's here with us in studio. So, Mr. Loftus Roker, thank you so much for joining us on GPS.
Thank you.
Also joining us on the show today is a gentleman who is no stranger to many of us throughout the Bahamas, and particularly those of us in Abaco. Pastor Silbert Mills is the pastor of Friendship Tabernacle Church. He's a businessman, justice of the peace, lifelong resident of Abaco. His community and civic involvements are numerous, including past chairman of the Dundas Town Local Government Committee, past chief counsel of the Central Abaco District, co-chairman of the Central Abaco Disaster Committee, past chairman of the Central Abaco Hurricane Committee, and a whole lot more. Pastor Mills is CEO and owner of the Bahamas Christian Network, which broadcasts special Christian programs, including church services, as well as local news throughout the Bahamas via Channel 55 on Cable Bahamas. Welcome to you, Pastor Silbert Mills. It's been a while. How you been?
Michelle, it's so good to be with you today. My mic here, so that we don't have the feedback. Turn it back down a little. It's good to be with you today, and in such great company. I am honored to be here with the Honorable Loftus Roker with you on the show today.
Yes, good to have you. We also have one more guest who's going to be joining us, and we're going to go ahead and add him to the stream right now. Now, Mr. Mills, we got two Mills on the panel. The other Mills is Kai Mills. And Kai Mills, I hate to say the other Mills, but it is what it is. Kai Mills has been prolifically producing videos about what's happening on the ground in Abaco. And he has decided to offer himself as an independent candidate in the next election. And he's just a very vocal activist, community activist on the island of Abaco. And I want to welcome Kai Mills to the show as well. Welcome, Kai. Now, let's make sure you are unmuted. Go ahead and unmute. You need to unmute your microphone, okay? You see the little microphone icon? Just there you go.
Me?
We can hear you perfectly now.
Good morning from Treasure Key, Abaco, Bahamas.
Welcome to the show, gentlemen. Welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you all here. So this is a problem that has been brewing in this country for decades. Back in the day, Loftus Roker was known for a very, very tough stance against illegal immigration. And I'm going to let him tell his story as it relates to his stint only being 3 years long. If I remember correctly, well, let me let him describe what happened. How is it that your stint as Minister of National Security with responsibility for immigration ended the way it ended? Explain what happened there for us, sir.
Well, there was an election in 1987, and I didn't run again.
Ah, okay. So that's what happened. You just didn't offer yourself again for re-election. Okay. All right. So what was your position as once you were appointed to the position of Minister of National Security with responsibility for immigration? You were known for a very tough stance. What were you trying to warn the Bahamian people about at that time?
Well, first of all, when I was appointed Minister of National Security, immigration wasn't supposed to be part of my portfolio.
Okay.
And I blame now Arthur Hanna, my good friend, who resigned his post in the government at the time. One morning, the Prime Minister called me and said that he had a talk with Arthur. And Arthur told him that if he left immigration where he intended to leave it, the country would be sold out. And presumably Arthur told him that I should have the job. And so I blame Arthur Hanna now for causing me to go through all of that trouble. And so that became part of national security. That was not intended in the first case.
Mm-hmm.
But I was part of the delegation that attended the Independence Conference in London.
Okay.
I was part of that. And the one thing I always wanted was sovereignty for the Bahamas.
Mm.
And one of the main things which distinguish a sovereign country is its right to determine who will enter its borders and who will not enter its borders.
Right.
If you do not have that right, then you have no sovereignty. If anybody could just walk into your country when they like, without your permission, and stay and work in your country, then you're not a sovereign country. That's my view on the matter. And I take that view, and it does not mean that non-Bahamians should not come to the Bahamas.
Right.
But you must come here legally. That's my view on the matter. And it does not matter where you come from, whether you come from the United States, from Britain, from France, wherever you come from. If you come here without permission, you're here illegally, and the government has an obligation to see that you return where you came from.
Now, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and that has been my view on immigration. And I was supported by the Prime Minister at the time and others.
Okay.
But there were those who didn't support.
You got a lot of flack.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. But the one thing no one could say that I acted illegally. I always carried out the law.
Now, there were some who charged that you were very, I'm trying to be diplomatic, that you were kind of cold, heartless. That these are some of the things that we heard.
So
yes.
But that's an opinion, and I can't stop you if you have that opinion about me.
Right.
But you cannot say I was breaking the law, though. What you're saying is I should give the fella a chance. Well, that's not my job. My job, responsible for immigration, is to ensure that if you're in the Bahamas, you're here legally with the permission of the government.
Right.
And what people don't know is we are paying over $15 million a year to maintain the immigration department. The Bahamian people are paying that out of their taxes to maintain that department. So, and the only reason you need immigration department is to ensure that people in the Bahamas are here legally and with permission of the government, or with permission of the government.
Otherwise, why be paying that $15 million?
That's right. We're wasting that money.
Do you believe, and the Mills guys, I can get y'all in on this in a second, but I just want to ask Mr. Roker one more question before we pull you guys into the conversation. Do you believe that had we continued with the tough stance that you took back then, that the landscape of the Bahamas would be different today?
I think so. But you know, one of the things, when people start saying how tough I was and all that, I called a meeting of Christian leaders to my office.
When you were minister?
When I was minister.
Okay.
And I told them that leaving the airport, going toward Coral Harbor, if there was a track road and there was a shanty town being built through there, and I told them I was about to have it raided, but I wanted them to form a committee so they could be there to ensure that everything was done properly. They agreed to that. And the next morning, one of the prominent Christian leaders called me up to say he don't want to be on that committee because he understood what I was doing. Because if he was there, he could not complain about what would he would know what happened.
Right.
And he didn't go. And that is one of the reasons when I decided it was time for me to quit. I never raided that shanty town. It may still be there, for all I know.
Do you think there's a level of hypocrisy that has led us to where we are now?
I think so. I think what we want slaves. And we
Oh,
forget,
dear. Oh, my.
we
Say that
forget we
again.
were-
Say that again. Say that again.
Yeah, we forget we were slaves too.
Mm.
And we want slaves. See, what the fellow will tell you is Bahamians are too lazy, or Bahamians cost too much. It's cheaper to employ non-Bahamians. And it's cheaper to employ them if they're here illegally too.
Oh, yeah.
Because they can't say anything.
No.
They can't do a thing about it. Whatever you give them, they have to take. And they can't even go and report you if you didn't pay them what you agreed to pay them.
Right. And so in essence, you're running a plantation.
You're using them.
Slave labor.
But let me give you even a more interesting story that you people have, just before the 87 election.
Mm-hmm.
I was also responsible for election, conduct of election too. That was under my portfolio. A gentleman from Abaco came to me and he brought a list of 20 Haitians. And he said he wanted them to be given citizenship. So I asked him, what's their qualification for citizenship?
Mm-hmm.
He told me that they're going to vote PLP. I told him that was not a qualification for citizenship of the Bahamas. He left my office. I never spoke to him again, but he left my office and he went to the Prime Minister's office. And he told the Prime Minister that I was trying to stop him from getting elected by not making these people citizens. The Prime Minister called me up and told me what he was told. But he said to me, Loftus, I put you there to do your job, and I expect you to be doing your job. In other words, he's saying to me, don't worry about what that fella say, you do your job. Of course, now, first of all, I don't make the minister, I had no right to make anybody citizens, but I carry the matter to cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
You see, I would have to carry the cabinet, and cabinet decided you would be a citizen or not.
Right. Well, see, you just brought up something that I wanted to touch on a little later in the show, and that is the fact that a part of this ongoing problem is that politicians use this as a tool
Right.
to try to stay in power. There are so many people that are complicit in what we see going on. I want to bring in Kai and Pastor Silbert Mills right now because they are actually on the ground in Abaco. And for the record, this isn't only happening in Abaco. We see it happening in Abaco. We see it happening in Andros. We see it happening in Eleuthera. And it seems that the powers that be have once again turned a blind eye to this. And you have to ask the question, why? Now, Kai, you have decided to run as an independent candidate, and I'm going to show you a video in a little bit about what is actually happening with this new shantytown that is popped up in Dundastown and is exploding. I mean, growing so fast. But you are on the ground, Kai. You see what is happening there. Why do you believe it is being ignored by the powers that be? Make sure your mic is unmuted. Unmute yourself.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Perfectly, yes.
Yes, the problem on the ground here is a big fight towards the Bahamians that want it solved, and the politician can't touch it now because it's too close to election. The Prime Minister made a speech in the House Assembly, I think it was yesterday, and every so-called Haitian Bahamian sent the clip to me, and this is what they said. This is how they interpreted what the Prime Minister just said. They said, boy, Kai, be straight. The Prime Minister said that every Haitian is entitled to property.
Well, you know, before you go any further, Kai, I'm going to actually play that clip. It's clip number 2. He didn't actually say every Haitian, but I'm just going to let the clip play so we can hear exactly what the Prime Minister said. Let's go to clip number 2.
There are many individuals who are living in these so-called dilapidated facilities of Haitian descent within Abaco or New Providence. Many are regularized. Many are Bahamians. Many are Bahamians. And they too are entitled to land also. Yes. So that they can move out of such squalor conditions in the proper facilities. We are Bahamians. We are not Haitian Bahamians. We are Bahamians. And therefore, that's the name and the brand we will carry.
Okay, so when I heard that, right? The first thing my mind went to was timing. Now, we see all of these big fancy homes being built in the Dundas Town, Shantytown that's going up now, right?
Yes.
Immigration, everybody turning a blind eye, pretending it's not happening. This community is growing, I mean, leaps and bounds. And then the prime minister, on the verge of what some believe will be a snap election, but we know it coming at least by next year, is going to get in the House of Assembly and make that statement. Now, see, if you sleeping, you're going to miss how this is all connected. What are your thoughts, Kai? What do you believe that says after hearing what the Prime Minister had to say?
Well, that's what I was about to tell you. What is being coming through my phone, I understand what he said and how he interpreted it. But this is how the Haitians interpreted it here in Abaco. I'm on the ground of the biggest Haitian shanty town, I think, in the world here in Abaco. And I just showed you one on one side of Dundas-Town. I'm going to show you another one that's just as big on the other side of Dundas-Town. But the Haitian is interpreting it like this. All you have to do is say that you are a Bahamian, not a Haitian Bahamian, and you're entitled to land. The Prime Minister didn't mean that in my interpretation, but they are so happy that he said now that all Haitian could get land. All you have to do is say that you're not Haitian Bahamian, but you're a Bahamian, and you're entitled to land. That's how they are reading it on the ground here. But the government did something that I didn't thought would happen in my lifetime. Getting rid of the mud and the peas. But they did, as Mashaba people say, Kai, the government has destroyed us. They moved the mud and the peas out of the mud. And now the mud has come on Front Street, Mashaba. We are ruined forever. And the government has allowed over 150 homes right in my member parliament, biggest constituency of Dundas-Town. They have two big structures that's going up, community, and nothing is being said. But watch this, Michelle Malcolm. The most interesting thing about what's going on, I've never seen this before, is that the Haitian Bahamians, the ones that are legal, they're coming to my house and telling me where the Haitians are gathering, where the communities are. And they saying to me, Kai, you have to do something about it. I cannot get a job because these new Haitians are bringing the price of labor down. Kai, when are they going to have a raid? Don't call my name, Kai, but this is where they are. They're now on the south side, the road going to Malls Island. They're down there on Saturday, and they're taking that over as a flea market. Kai, they are on this side of the road, and you got 20 structures going up now. When is immigration going to do something? Michelle, I was so hurt when I saw what's his name there, Clarence Russell, whatever his name, whatever his title is. He's having a delegation, having a supper, a dinner with the Chinese, and the Haitian is taking over Abaco as we knew it. Every 10 people that you see walking on the street, they are Haitian. They have opened up the Haitian Ministry of Labor right next to Rogers convenience shop in Mashaba. They have their own Ministry of Labor under this F&M government, and they had a great opportunity to do something about it while everybody is turning their blind eyes. We, the people of Abaco, like myself, is suffering and asking, when is Clarence Russell and the immigration department is going to do something by even showing up with manpower? It is out of whack that the Haitian Bahamians are complaining more than Bahamians. And the gentleman in the corner there, he said the proper word. It is slavery of another name. They are asking for Haitian first, second, and third. We are being outcast as the fourth class citizen in our country. They asked for Haitian 3 times before they asked for Bahamian, because it's slavery and another name, cheap labor, that they thought they were getting over on the Haitian, and by the Haitian learning the trade, and now the Haitian is now employing Haitian. Murphytown is gone. The Haitians already bought 75% of the homes that are available in Murphytown. Dundastown is next on the map, while our minister, Darren Henfield, we're seeing more of the backs of him than the front. We can't even complain because there's nobody to complain about. And 2, immigration department here, they are at an all-time low, that some immigration officers are asking to be transferred because they can't do their job under this present government, but because they are leaving it alone. But Michelle, I want to tell the Bahamian people something. The Haitians are some of the smartest people that you ever see. I hate when I see Bahamians call Haitians dumb and stupid. They're smarter than the Bahamas Defense Force. They're smarter than the Bahamas Immigration Department. Right here in Marshall, after COVID-19, we had 2 boats that came into Marshall. And I went on the dock and just casually filming all the stuff that these 2 illegal boats were taking, all of the goods that the hurricane didn't destroy. They went and took off your doors, your windows, your furniture that you barely saved after the hurricane, and they were sending everything back to Haiti. And our defense force, our immigration was on the port in Marshall, watching this happen for weeks until I did the video, and nothing has been done. In America, they would have had them offload those boats and had the Bahamians come and retrieve their goods that they stole, and they're still doing it today. The video I did of in Dundestown, a guy from the funeral home, I said, casually, I said, those doors are cost about $500. Where did he get those 2 doors from? The guy called me and said those doors cost $1,500 that they stole from his funeral home in Treasure Key. The windows cost $2,500, and he needs his windows, and he saw them on my video, while the government of the Bahamas is staying idly by, and people are playing politics. If you are F&M pastor, you said nothing. If you're a PLP pastor, you said nothing. Kai is speaking for right, and righteousness exalt the nation. But people are playing politics with the wrong that is doing, and it's happening to our Bahama land.
Let's get Pastor Mills in on this conversation. Boy, that was a mouthful. Pastor Mills.
My good cousin, Pastor Mills.
Your cousin's okay.
Yes,
I was
yes.
With blood.
One thing for sure. Thank you, Michelle, and it's good to be with you today, because the people don't always approach a challenge alike, and so when Kai speaks about the manner in which he would go about handling a matter, we have a different approach to handling situations. And so it's not that pastors are quiet on the issue. We just seem to think that we could do things quite differently. There's immigration problem. I turned 61 a couple of days ago. And when I was a boy, I think around 5 or 6 years old, I could remember my grandmother having a Haitian who did work for her. Chiclet. I should know the name. That's back in 1965. Haitians have been on Abaco for a long, long time. That's 55 years, if I can recollect. The problem exacerbated itself in the late 70s when we had this proliferation of workers came in for Key and Sawyer Farm in Norman's Castle, where they had a camp where Haitians were housed, similar to like how my dad was when they went on the contract in America. What America did was after the season was over, sent daddy those home. They weren't allowed to stay. Whoever they were working for on the contract kept them at their farm, and we ought to have employed a similar procedure for the migrant workers. Once the season of cucumbers or tomatoes were done, the Key and Sawyer farm ought to have been responsible for taking them back out. Fast forward to 1980, we had the farm was losing workers. They were looking for a place to stay, and then they moved up to central Abaco, where one house was built on Pigeon P, private land by a gentleman in Marsh Harbor. The then immigration commissioner, Brennan, had the house burnt down. He ordered it burnt down because it was an illegal structure built without permit. You know what the government did? The government transferred the commissioner. And so once they realized that the pressure of the church, a church, and the influence that it had enough to have the commissioner transferred, it became wide open season for sending the message that, well, we have the protection of government, because the next commissioner that came in, who was in charge of Board of Works and Planning, if he tried it, he saw that his predecessor was transferred. He wasn't going to try it out to try and burn down another Haitian home. And as a result of that, what was one house suddenly turned into the mud, and that's what it was prior to Hurricane, the mud in Pigeon P. That's what it was prior to Hurricane Dorian, a disaster waiting to happen. And you can see what we had there. Roofs were touching roofs, and the government said, look, we got to deal with this. Let's fast forward a little bit, because I really followed Minister Roker. Everybody was afraid of Roker. Every illegal person knew that if Roker, they called him Roker by his name, okay? If he was going to, if he was there, action was going to take place. And that's where immigration officers like Ted Strawn, the late Ted Strawn, who came to Abaco, were not intimidated whether you were white illegal, whether you were foreign illegal. Ted Strawn locked up Ronnie Farrar from Marsh Harbor Power and Light, a white man. You know what immigration did? They transferred Ted, sending the signal there's certain people you could not mess with. And so that's where this thing mushroomed into a problem out of our hand, out of control. When I became the chief counselor under local government, we tried our hardest to deal with this matter. You know what the former Prime Minister, Hubert Ingham, told me? When we complained to the matter as the chief counselor for the district, it's your problem, solve it. You all created the problem, you all solve it. And we can't solve it without the involvement of central government. This has to be multifaceted in order for this to be solved. And we are today in serious, serious problem. The Honorable Perry Christie, when he became Prime Minister in 2002, he effected a commission with Jewel Major. She came down here under urban renewal and cataloged every house. We knew every house, just how many structures were in the mud, and we put stop notice on homes. Nothing was done beyond that. Then Honorable Dr. Minnis comes. He effects a Shantytown Commission that gave a report in 2018, November 2018, cataloging every house. And they know what was going on. Seems like nobody was really serious about handling and solving the problem, like it was doing window dressing This
Yes.
is a serious
Yes.
situation today.
We're doing something so it could look like we're doing something, but we really ain't doing anything because we know, Mr. Roker, you hit the nail right on the head. This is about slave labor. There's some very powerful, wealthy people who are benefiting from this. That's the bottom line. This is not just happening. This is not just perchance. This is a very systematic and systemic problem because people are benefiting from this. And quite frankly, they selling out this country, selling our birthright for a bowl of porridge, but it is all about greed. We are 11 minutes past where we were supposed to be when we took our break. So we got to take a quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to get deeper into this because there's so much ground we have to cover, y'all. So stay with us. This is GPS Global Paradigm Shift. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
Dress, hats off, looking like I walked out of catalog. Everybody wanna know where I got it from. Catwalk, 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 boutique, where we make fashion statements. Catwalk, boutique, where we make fashion statements.
For the latest styles in women's clothing and accessories, visit Catwalk Boutique on Robertson Road East at the Helron Plaza. At Catwalk Boutique, we make fashion statements.
At Lee Air, safety is our #1 priority. Flying since 1996, we offer scheduled flights into Fresh Creek and Mangrove Key Andros and Great Harbor Key, Berry Island, twice daily, 7 days a week. Affordable charter services are also available to anywhere in the Bahamas and the Caribbean. Lee Air Charter Services. Call 225-3267, 702-7127, or 322-1317 for reservations.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
And welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm. Today we're talking about immigration, illegal immigration in the Bahamas, and whether we have reached the point of no return. My guests today are former Minister of National Security with responsibility for immigration, the legendary Loftus Roker. Also joining us on the show today, Pastor Silbert Mills, and independent candidate in the next election, Kai Mills. I want to go to look at some of the comments from Facebook, and then we're going to continue on with our discourse. So here's an interesting one. Carolyn says, let us just agree now that we are a fully integrated nation and there is no going back. We have been taken bit by bit over the many years, and now we can do nothing to change it. Just love our brothers and sisters and move forward as a race. Gentlemen, how do you respond to that comment? Anybody?
I didn't even hear what you said there.
I think Carolyn is right. There's lots of merit to what Carolyn just said, that we are a fully integrated society now with mixed Haitians, of people of Haitian descent and Bahamians. My son-in-law is of Haitian descent. My daughter-in-law is of Haitian descent. There are white with grandchildren of Haitian descent. There are blacks with grandchildren that are of, and son-in-laws and daughter-in-laws that are of Haitian descent. You have had most of the cabinet representing the country since the late 80s with someone who was either of Haitian descent or connected to someone who is of Haitian descent. And as a result of that, government's tread may have been treading quite easy on Haitian related issues. Check the cabinet of the Bahamas. Since the late 80s, every cabinet has had someone in it who was either married to Haitian or had Haitian descent. So this matter is not going away. It is serious. I want to just say something about that shanty town that Kai Mills talked about earlier. Are you aware that those Haitians that are building there are being exploited by Bahamians? They're being exploited by Bahamians. I have in my possession a receipt of that one of the Haitians received.
Oh, wait a minute now. Let me go close on that. Hold on now. Let me make
I've
sure.
been doing an investigation.
Oh, boy.
This is what the Bahamian who
taking my story.
This is the Bahamian, yes, who has access to the government land.
$1,000
of the $1,000 that was part payment for the annual lease, and it was only good for 12 months. That you can see there's a balance of $500 that the person has to pay, but the Bahamian who received this money was careful not to put his name anywhere on that receipt.
Yeah.
Now we know who he is.
Well,
and they're coming to get him.
To that end, I'm going to play a clip that Kai produced. Now, Kai, I had to cut this up because it was like 9 minutes long. And so clearly I couldn't allow that to run for 9 minutes, but I took some of the highlights and included in this clip, somebody's talking about having to pay rent. So let's go to clip number 1.
More land is being cleared to build more homes right here in Dunderstown. Beautiful structures, brand new homes, brand new community, right here. This guy got some connection because these BEC poles that are drilled in the ground, so somebody had to come out here. I know they didn't dig them, they drilled them, and that took a lot of time, a lot of money to drill those holes to put these. Again, there is another one of those water makers thingamajig there to hold water. Like you can see here, this is a vibrant community, water, everybody moving around. This is home. I think that we're being sold out for absolutely nothing, peanuts, as we see the structure of what's going on here. They're living comfortable. That's all right. But let's regulate this. We have to regulate it. We can't allow it to slip like the mud and the peas. I'm not trying to upset nothing. I just want to regulate everything to make sure that Bahamians has the rights as non-Bahamian. That's all Kai trying to do. Who actually owns the building? Your daddy?
My dad, daddy girl, my wife.
Your wife? She's Bahamian? There ain't such thing as Haitian Bahamian. Does she have a Bahamian passport?
Bahamian.
And who you said give you the permission to do this? Who gave you the land? Who the land belongs to? What that name you called just now? The name of the guy that gave you permission to build here. Who is he? Who is he? He's a preacher? How does he look? Big fat guy? Big fat guy. You all pay him rent? Like how much money you pay him a month to be here? You don't know? Your wife know? Okay, you ain't know. All of a sudden you don't know. Man, that's some journalism right there. Well, I got the name of the two landlords, and we don't have a Haitian problem in Abaco. That sounds crazy. We don't have no Haitian problem.
Yes.
We have a Bahamian problem. Yes. Pastor Mills alluded to it earlier. They are using the Haitian as they think they use them and exploiting them. That these two Bahamian landlords that don't have no papers are charging actually $2,000 for each structure that's on government property that they don't have any papers for.
$2,000 per structure?
That is correct. That is correct. That is correct.
Structure.
Each structure. So on each structure, you got about 10 homes and about 6 guns. So you're saying 10 times 2, and you see how much money the Bahamians illegally.
On this crown land, they renting out.
Yeah, but they don't have any crown land. They don't have papers for it. They are inviting the Haitians to break the law. Bahamians, not Haitians. These are full-fledged Bahamians, and some of them say they serve, but they're on the way to a Christless hell for exploiting these Haitians. They're wrong. That is the problem we have. The greed of Bahamians.
Okay, so I just want to paint this picture for everybody in case some of them sleeping. Okay, you have Bahamians who are collecting rent on land that don't belong to them, charging these people rent. You have the business owners who are not willing to give up their slave labor. You have the politician who is trying to use these people for brownie points to get as many of them naturalized as they can so they could vote for them. And you wonder why we have an immigration problem in this country? That's the perfect storm.
Let me
inject
something.
We have people that ain't have no integrity. That's the key ingredient, is no integrity.
Historically, what the Honorable A. Loftus Roker said about slave labor may have been the case. It is no longer slave labor.
What would you call it now?
The Haitian migrant workers are as competitive as anybody who goes to work seeking employment. You don't get Haitian labor for less than anyone else anymore. And the dangers of what is happening with this particular community, and I say danger, is that nobody's really paying attention. If you look at the Shantytown report of 2018, the Shantytown report indicates that the Haitian workers, on an average, if you look at 177 persons identified, they make an average of $401 to $600 per week. That's $401 to $600 per week. So let's average it out at $500 per week. That's almost $5 million per annum going in that particular demographics that earns between $401 and $600 a week. What is going on is that large numbers of dollars are being taken out of the country, and it means that it's an unfair, unbalanced trade. When money leaves the country, goods or service should come back to replace it. But if money leaves the country and does not return, you have an imbalance in a trade situation. And for the country, the government to play with this thing, whichever government it was prior to this, or present or future governments, to play with this, as Abaco has been identified as the second largest producer of government revenue, for it to be influenced by illegal workers is something that someone needs to pay attention to. You cannot have the second largest contributor to the government's purse where migrants, illegal or otherwise, are taking huge sums of money out of the country by way of Western Union and other ways, and none of it coming back. And so this problem exacerbates itself in many, many ways that's under the surface. It's not cheap labor anymore, my dear. It's not cheap labor.
Wow.
If I could interject there, Malcolm, as a Bahamian, you said I'm running as an independent candidate. You keep relating to that. I have not said where I'm running or how I'm running yet. Right. I haven't made that decision as of yet.
I apologize.
I am just one of those that are speaking and giving information. Because I give information, I'm always harassed. You imagine about 5,000 illegals on the ground here, and the police are constantly trying to lock Kai up just because I speak like you do.
My Lord.
You imagine you speaking truth, and you're is threatened by the forces daily. So I try to hold back some because I don't like, at my age of 59, being put in a cell to get COVID-19. I'm trying to stay alive as much as I can. But it was so embarrassing, Ms. Malcolm. The last tour, the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, the second man in charge, the Deputy Prime Minister, our Member of Parliament, Minister of Foreign Affairs that knows about what's going on, to them to walk through the farm, and it was like a joke to them. And they're walking through their Bahama land as the three-headed people in charge, and it's like a foreign country to them. And they have walked through there, my Member of Parliament, with the Minister of Immigration, they have done 5 walks. And just how they walk out, got the camera shoot, the publicity, they walk out, nothing has happened. It is dangerous. It is dangerous when you see that the Minister of Social Service could come on, like we are now, and say that he is illegal in this country, and nobody has challenged the Minister of Social Service that has no status, as far as Kai can see in Abaco, on what he has said on national radio and television. He ought to be deported, and he's a minister. Then this government have appointed a first generation Haitian. I like Ellsworth Johnson, but he's a first generation Haitian to deal with the problem. So he's been to the farm 2 times, and he said to us Bahamians, okay, I give them X amount of time to get out of there. And then he turned back to the Haitian and he say, Bahamians, pabum, go ahead, continue to do what you do. Your man is in charge. How could this be in an English-speaking country that the minister responsible for getting rid of the Haitian is a first-generation Haitian himself? It can't work, and it shall not work. It is proven that Ellsworth Johnson has been there with Darren Henfield several times and give Abaco and a Bahamian and the Haitians a date. And so far, their words as minister is like water on a duck's back. It can't happen. We need to get rid of all of them and start all over again. And Michelle, you think they're going to do anything now? That played what the Prime Minister did on TV last night. That was saying to the Haitian, go ahead, do what you're doing, vote for them, you're going to get some of this land. He's campaigning, not to Bahamians, not to Abaconians, but he's campaigning for the Haitian vote. But Haitians ain't fool. They ain't going to vote for them because they destroy the mud and the peas, which is closer to the economical pie. They want to be closer. That's why they are establishing these new shanty towns close to Mashaba, in my hometown, my birthplace of Dundas Town. And Darren Henfield is from Dundas Town, and he has done Zero to stop it.
Gentlemen, we have to take a break, and
Yeah.
I know you want to say something, so let's it's 12:01. We got to take this break, and then I'm going to go straight to former Minister of National Security, Loftus Roker, on the other side. But we have to pay some bills, y'all. We got to take care of our sponsors, so we're going to take this quick break. If you haven't already done so, what are you waiting on? Like and share this show. We got to get this word out, y'all. This is systematic
Live with Michelle
and
Malcolm.
it's systemic. And the only way that this will change is if we call a spade a spade. Stop sugarcoating this. Stop trying to push it under the rug. Stop trying to act like it doesn't exist. Otherwise, I don't even know what to say. Stay with us. We'll be back after this.
Located on Carmichael Road, Divine Designs Hair Boutique is a haven for women and men looking for professional beauty services. Our state-of-the-art and contemporary equipment creates a relaxing ambiance for you to enjoy while we cater to you. Need a hairstylist? We cater to all types and textures of hair for care and styling. We even have a barber on duty. Need a nail tech? Our technicians provide a range of nail services, including the latest trends. Unwind in one of our massage chairs while you get your pedicure. With our reasonable rates, friendly staff, and over 20 years of experience, you will be in great hands. Call us at 823-1669 or 698-1025 to schedule your appointment. Want to be pampered? Want to be slayed? Let Divine Designs make your day.
Hey, it's Bertram O'Bubbler, and I will be reading from the Book of Glory 93.9 FM, and it reads, "For this station shall be the best gospel station in all the land."
Looking for an extraordinary junior high school with caring, qualified staff and affordable tuition? Then come visit us at Elite School of Excellence, an affiliate of First Step Academy. ABECA-focused and Ministry of Education approved, we foster discipline, integrity, and wisdom while molding our students for success. Call us at 341-8846 or stop by First Step Academy schools on Fire Trail and Soldy Roads for more information. Escape from the city life to Bacon Air Beach Resort in Pirateswell, Mayaguana. Relax in one of 16 air-conditioned rooms just steps away from the ocean. Enjoy scrumptious dishes in our waterfront dining room. Sip on a tropical cocktail, or if you must, stay connected with wireless internet. Nestled on one of the most beautiful beaches in the Bahamas, Bacon Air Beach Resort offers a unique vacation experience. For reservations, call 339-3726 or 463-0182.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
And we are back. Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM. I am your host, Michelle Malcolm. Today we're talking illegal immigration. whether or not we are at the point of no return. Some will argue we've been there a little while. My guests today are former Minister of National Security with responsibility for immigration, Loftus Roker, as well as activist Kai Mills and Pastor Silbert Mills, cousins from Abaco, on the ground there. Okay, Mr. Roker, you wanted to say something prior to the break.
Yeah, I would like to say that I talk about illegal immigration, not illegal Haitian immigration. I talk about illegal immigration. The British in the 1800s colonized the Fiji Islands in the South Pacific. And the population was very small. So they brought in Indians from India to work in the sugarcane fields. Eventually, Fiji became independent. And then suddenly they found out that the native Fijians were outnumbered by the Indians. Fortunately for them, their soldiers were Fijians and not Indians. And then they could not hold an election anymore because they would lose the election because the Indians would outnumber them.
Right.
And so the Fijis now operate without an election. Right. In the Bahamas, we have illegal immigrants from all over the world.
Yes.
Not only Haiti. Mm-hmm. Now, the thing is, there are more from Haiti than from other places.
Right.
But it doesn't matter to me where they come from. Mm-hmm. If they're illegal, they should leave the Bahamas. And that is what about a year ago, a minister in the present government was asked how many non-Bahamians was working at the Point Project in Nassau.
Mm-hmm.
He said he didn't know.
That's the minister responsible for immigration.
Said he didn't know.
I remember when he said that, and I was like,
right.
No, he couldn't have just said that. No.
Yeah. So how? What nonsense is this? And we are paying these ministers, we're giving
them volunteering.
No, we are paying them to do a job, and you ask him about his job, he said he doesn't know what's going on. Mm-hmm. And that's so. When we look, I will tell you one final story. When I came home from school in England in the 60s, I knew a young lady from Auckland called Florence Ferguson. She was working on what they called those days premises. That is, a live-in maid she was, out west. And she was buying a lot in Sunshine Park. And every month she would bring me $80 to pay the real estate agent for her. And she never missed a payment. When she bought the lot, she started building a house on it. Never had a mortgage, built a house on it. Because as a live-in maid, she didn't have to pay rent. She didn't have to pay for food.
Right.
And she didn't have to pay for uniform. Mm-hmm. All that. So the little bit of money she was making, she could put that into that. And when she died, she had one of the most beautiful houses in Sunshine Park. Mm-hmm. I say that because today, that job of live-in maid is not available to Bahamians. Mm-hmm. That's available to all kind of other people, mm-hmm. Not Haitians. And I'm not talking about Haitians now.
Filipinos and
other people.
Yes.
In the meantime, Bahamians cannot find employment. Mm-hmm. Have we an obligation? Bahamians put people in parliament. Do we have an obligation to provide, to see that these Bahamians who we ask to vote for us are employed? Isn't that our first responsibility?
You would think.
You would think so. But I know of Bahamians who are unemployed, who are looking for work. And they'll either tell you Bahamians are too lazy or Bahamians want too much, and we employ. And one of these days, you'll find that Bahamians in your country are outnumbered, not by, not. I'm not talking about Haitians now, outnumbered by
Legal
foreigners,
immigrants, yeah. By
legal
foreigners, yeah.
by foreigners, and that's but you see, it's at the top too. I remember, and it ain't only just started now, but it's getting worse. One time, I had one maid during my whole lifetime. I had one maid. She was from Kong Sound in Andhra. Muriel Rami. She's now deceased. So I said to one of my friends who was getting some wanted 3 foreign maids. You know, they entertain a lot too, you know, and all that, so they need these people. And I said to him, you represent a constituency in New Providence. Why can't you find some people there, some maid there to work for you? He said to me, they just talk your business. That's why. Because we don't mind when it's election time, you go and sit on your floor and ask you and all kinds of things. But once we get in there now, you talk all business. What about when you're sitting on my floor asking me to vote for you?
Eating my food.
Yeah. You're doing all that to show me how you love me. But after you get there, you don't want to give me a job because I can talk your business. And that's the problem we have, because we do not look. When we want lawyers, we have almost 2,000 lawyers who've been to some of the most renowned universities. We have Rhodes Scholars. We have all sorts of people. And yet, when the government needs representation, they bring in foreign lawyers to represent them here. And they have lawyers who need work, and they can't get it. But that's what we do, because somehow we believe the foreigners is
better
than the Bahamian. And I say, even if the Bahamian went to Oxford University or Cambridge, we still prefer the foreigner to him.
I want to can I interject right there on what he's saying now?
Yes, you can.
Because as an Abaconian, Michelle, my heart has been broken to see how the immigration department have destroyed the quality of life and the hopes and the dreams for the young Bahamians that went off to college and came back with the same degree as the expatriates. One of those places is Baker's Bay. The owner of Baker's Bay showed that it doesn't take much education or brains to run $1 billion resort. That he took the golf pro. He brought him down as a golf pro. He had a manager, and he liked the golf pro, and he put him as manager of the biggest thing that happened in Abaco since the sugar plantation. Baker's Bay is huge. It's a city. With all respect to Michael Melvin, this guy is a solid man. But the politicians have destroyed what Michael Melvin meant for Bahamians. He was going to build over 100 homes for people that is struggling coming from Crown Haven to Sandy Point. On the heads of agreement, Michael Melvin was going to build houses for them to live, so they'll have to take that passage. And they were going to be able, through their salaries, to buy. This was going to be the first Black community of Bahamians on Guanakee that was going to be huge. And it was in the heads of agreement, and the government changed it. I was one of the first to be hired by Baker's Bay. And passing through the people coming in my taxi, I would ask them, they would say, how does the Bahamas government allow us to come here to take the Bahamian people's job? I said, you think that Bahamians could do it? He said, Bahamians are great workers. They do quality work, but they don't deserve the extra, the perks. This is my country. At the Abaco Club, we got a manager from South Africa that I am a taxi driver. They are micromanaging everything that the money do not trickle down to us. In Baker's Bay, they are illegally carrying passengers from the airport to Baker's Bay 13 years, and the taxi drivers cannot get any monies, any of that money. It is for Baker's Bay. Only we'll get the overflow. We have people that has the same degree as the white people, but immigration has destroyed the quality of life and the monetary fund that black Bahamians could have got, because they put a white face on the Abaco Club, a white face on Baker's Bay, and guess what, Michelle? The Americans want to meet us. We are the only people, you know what's the most ignorant Bahamians? The ones that go to America for 1 year and come back and say, hey man, what's happening? We are the only one in the world that has this accent, that has this quality of care. And the immigration department is hosting these jobs to foreign whites, period. That Baker's Bay would say that we cannot speak to each other and congregate beyond the fence. If we want to congregate and speak our language, Bahamians, we have to go behind the fence, because we have to forget about our own needs. Only people that matter is the white oligarchies. They have written this and posted it and sent it to the Bahamian workers. And you go to immigration, you go to the member of parliament, they say, suck it up, learn to live with it. But they are standing in the way. The immigration department, that is non-existent since Hurricane Dorian. Every available Haitian throughout the country is living in subhuman condition in Abaco, but they're going to work every day. And there is not one immigration that you can report these people to, that are the Haitians that are straight are now reporting the new Haitians and saying the Kai Mills, it's too many of them. You need to do something with them. At the Abaco Club, every position is available, only made all the high-paying job that Bahamians are qualified to do. They are bringing in whites, expatriates, and shutting out the Bahamians, and they've been doing it for over 10, 15 years, and the Bahamas government is just standing idly by and dealing below the table. They will say, don't mind Kai, you all deal with me, the Kai raise hell, you all pay me, we can deal with it.
I want to read a text. This one says, when people are hungry, they give up their birthright. Jacob and Esau were our examples. Slavery is being perpetuated using birthright stealing of our neighbors. We are not helping them. We are using them to the disadvantage of Bahamians. Some of the money comes back. The family here send funds home so family members can pay their way illegally, US $2,000, on the rickety boats to financial freedom. So in other words, what this person is saying is that we're not 100% correct when we say none of the money is coming back, because what is actually happening is they're taking the money that they make here, they're sending it to Haiti, and then the people in Haiti are saving it up to pay to get on the boat to come to the Bahamas. So it's like this vicious cycle that's continuing on and on and on.
I think I spoke to that earlier with regards to the money that leaves.
Yeah.
They may be correct that there's a small portion of that money coming back. In 2014, the Honorable Fred Mitchell negotiated with the U.S. counterparts as Minister of Foreign Affairs, and they changed the laws regarding human smuggling in the Bahamas, because historically, human smuggling was a slap on the wrist. And so when Minister Mitchell was the minister, they forged forward to make this a serious crime, because they realized through intelligence that human smuggling from Haiti and elsewhere, in particular Haiti, had now grown to an organized crime. In the United States, they would call it continual criminal enterprise, or Section 848. And so now they begin to take a different approach to the smuggling of Haitians, to which some Bahamians and some Abaconians, we understand, have been benefiting from. So how much of it comes back? A small fraction returns. When you talk about this, Kai keeps mentioning about what government can and cannot do. I don't believe that any government, present or future, will be able to seriously handle this problem of illegal immigrants, especially the way this government hands the tide with the COVID-19 and the loss in the humanitarian approach to the losses that took place with Hurricane Dorian. The international community has already swooped down on the Bahamas to call us insensitive, inhumane. When the Honorable Brand McCartney ordered a flight to be taken to Haiti right after the earthquake, he was fired. And so we have to understand that moving large numbers of Haitians back now is not going to be based on the international conventions and human rights orders. It's not going to happen right now. Whether the PLP becomes government tomorrow, the FNM, or the independent group, this group is with us. They're going to be with us for a while.
So let me ask you something. And gentlemen, let's get Mr. Roker back in the stream as well. So we're talking about these conventions and international human rights and all that kind of stuff. But what about our right to sovereignty? I know, Mr. Roker, you touched on that earlier in your opening statements. Do we not have a right to keep our nation sovereign? Which right trumps which right?
I say that it is the right of the Bahamas to ensure that the only people who can enter the Bahamas are done so with the permission of the Bahamian government. And there is no international law which says differently. Now, if you were asking for asylum, you apply for asylum, but you do not do it, you do not come here illegally. If you want asylum, you could apply to the government for asylum. When I practiced law before I became a minister, I represented the Haitians when Papa Doc was the president of Haiti. And there was a group of Haitians who came here and applied for asylum because they were at war with Papa Doc. I represented them. That's the proper thing to do. But coming here for economic benefit is you have no right to that. Mm-hmm. Political asylum is a different thing altogether. And 99% of the illegal immigrants in the Bahamas are not here because of any political reason. They're here for economic reasons.
Right.
And the thing about talking about what they're saying, in Haiti, why do you think a Haitian boat, a sloop, sailboat, can leave Haiti with about 100 people on it, and the Haitian government does not know about it? They want them to come here because most of the money that they make here are sent back home because they have family back in Haiti.
They have a ministry of remittances.
And not only that, Haitian officials are also benefiting financially by this. They allow them, if you went, I've been to Haiti, I've been all over the world, I've been to Haiti, and there's no way that a sloop can leave Port-au-Prince or Gonaives or any of those places without the officials knowing. They know it. They permit it to happen.
Well, I mean, let's face it.
Michelle, if I can interject.
Just 1 second, I'm going to come to you in a second. But not only are they aware that these boats are that are leaving, and they're allowing these boats to leave, but we have seen their diplomats here on the ground in the Bahamas committing fraud when it comes to documentation. So people, listen, this thing is a serious racket. There are people who are benefiting from this financially, and I ain't talking about the illegal immigrants. I'm talking about the boat captains who make $2,000 a head. I'm talking about, pardon me?
Organized crime. That
organized
is what.
Crime.
Yes,
boat
organized
captains making $2,000 a head. The landlord in Apico who leasing Crown land to these people. The business owners who are hiring them. Although Pastor Mill says it's not for cheap labor anymore, but they obviously prefer to get them because it's less benefits that they have to. So people are benefiting from this.
I'm wondering though, Michelle, from a different perspective, how much the government's historic and maybe present are at fault for acquiescing or violating their own immigration laws. With Bahamas, let's go back to Cable Beach. With Cable Beach, it was built with Filipinos' labor. Bahamas was built with primarily Chinese labor.
Cable Beach was Indian labor.
Well, Indian, Filipinos. I recall Filipinos. That's Indian, I guess.
It was Indian.
Yeah. Okay. The point is now with Chinese as well. How much? And when you look at the terms and implications of the heads of agreement with Baker's Bay, there was certain line items in Baker's Bay that affords the developer these positions to which Kai speaks about, which the government. How much is the government at fault for creating these within these documents, which goes against the grain of what the former minister Arthur D. Hanna was called Bahamianization. From I was a boy, I was hearing Bahamianization. How much of that is the government at fault for when we look at the whole spectrum of this illegal immigration situation?
Well, if I could put my 2 cents inside there, coming back, I saw our minister Silbert cousin, Darren Enfield, on TV last night, him and that New Bull guy, and he's talking with two tongues. He's saying that he cannot do nothing with the farm because they're in court, but he said that the court said that they can't do anything with the old structure. Well, God did something with that. The hurricane carried that. But he said they could stop the new structure. Well. There's 150 new structure that is going up. And you know, Michelle, just hitting on Baker's Bay and all that stuff, right? And if we, like Pastor Mill said, do nothing, no government can do nothing about it. That is why we are the way we are now. You have to start by putting down laws and having some people that in charge that has some integrity. You know that Bahamian citizenship and work permit costs nothing. You could get, I see at the ferry, the fella been working all month and he got locked up by immigration. No papers. Well, the next day he has his paper. How could that be? There's something wrong with that problem. And it's so widespread, the lack of integrity, that the Haitians now that are straight as are speaking out about it. And they're saying that, Kai, you need to do something about it. And you see the director of immigration, he's up there the Chinese must be eating them rotten cat with the Chinese is eating. That's all. Should have do something about what's going on in Abaco. Where's the director of immigration when it comes to the huge immigration problem in Abaco? And he would say, look, like how Silbert said, the government would say, we have to do something with it. You would say, we have to do something with it. How could we solve the problem without central government that has this problem existing in the front of my door for so long?
Well,
you have to start. And if you don't start, and when have we had a Bahamian or immigration department or minister that we could be proud of? Wow, like Loftus Roker. I've heard his name for years. And he did something way back when I was a boy that still stands today. He had integrity, he did his job, and he believed that the Bahamas should first be for Bahamian. When last have we had a director, a minister, a prime minister, like Loftus Roker think years ago that we could be proud of such official. I want to be such official that you could be proud and you could feel my representation as I move through the breadth and the length of North Abaco. When last have we seen a member of parliament?
Here's the thing. I was
like this
surprised talking to Mr. Roker. I shouldn't have been because I lived through it. But his legacy is such that you would think that he was in that position for 10 years. He only served in that position for 3 years. But yet all of these decades later, people are still talking about Roker, Loftus Roker, and the policies that he implemented during his time there. So clearly, but I want to.
Well, the thing,
go ahead.
I would like to say this.
Mm-hmm.
I never went looking for one illegal immigrant. That's not my job.
Okay.
If you see a minister out there looking for illegal immigrants, he shouldn't be minister. That's not his job. His job is to set policies and to ensure that the policies are carried out.
Okay.
We are paying hundreds of immigration officers to do that, and they should be doing their job. And if they know that the minister is with them, they will do. I never had any problem with any immigration officers. They worked, they did whatever I instructed them to do. And but they could do it because they know I will take responsibility for what they do so long as they do the right thing.
Right.
And that's the problem is that we pass laws, but we do not carry them out. Let's think about it. One of these days, the Bahamian people will understand why we have failed to carry out the Public Disclosure Act, which tells how much each parliamentarian makes a year. You know how much is, and a minister shouldn't be doing any private work while he's a minister. So you should know how much money he's making every year. Mm-hmm. Yet, we have failed to carry out those instructions. So you could make thousands of laws, but if you don't carry them out,
what's the point?
It means nothing.
They're just words on a paper.
That's right. It means nothing. And that's the problem. We don't carry out the laws we make. All we're talking about how many laws we're going to pass and all of that. It means nothing.
Well, we're not carrying out the laws, I dare say, and I dare suggest, because we're benefiting from the laws not there.
Right. The problem is simple, though, Michelle. The problem is simple.
Okay,
when Honorable Brent Sumner was minister responsible for immigration.
Hold on, Pastor Mills. Pastor Mills, let's talk about that on the other side of this break. We got to take our final break for the show, and then we're going to get into that. All right, so everybody stay with us. You're listening to and watching GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM. We're going to take this quick break, pay some bills, and then we're going to come back and get into this problem and what we need to do to solve it. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Glory Glory 93.9 FM, the people's favorite gospel station.
Ocean blue is the best in seafood, hey, hey. Fresh out the water and affordable too, yeah. We got fish, conch, lobster, shrimp, everything you want, Ocean Blue got it. Ocean Blue, friendly and clean, best service you ever seen. Ocean Blue is the best in seafood, yeah. Fresh out the water and affordable too, yeah. Ocean Blue Seafood, we are here for you. Ocean Blue Seafood, no one else will do. Ocean Blue Seafood, located on Bernard Road. Contact us at 393-2160.
Want to look your best and feel even better? Visit J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa for the ultimate beauty, body, and anti-aging treatments, offering custom colors, haircuts, vegan anti-freeze treatments, silk blowouts, natural and acrylic nails, unisex pedicures, facials, and massages, all waxing services, and microcurrent therapies for anti-aging and body sculpting. J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madeira Street, telephone 326-7863. For all your building needs, it's Carib Construction and Project Management on Gladstone Road. We build it all: schools, homes, hotels, and more, including structures requiring a Phase 3 electrical contractor. We also provide project management services. The first step towards your dream building begins at Carib Construction and Project Management. Call us at 376-1556 or 341-4466.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Longevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs, but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting, sugar-free, berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
And welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm, and my guests today are former Minister of National Security with responsibility for immigration, Loftus Roker, Pastor Silbert Mills of Abaco, and also from Abaco activist Kai Mills. And we're talking illegal immigration. Are we beyond the point of, are we at the point of no return? I want to read, before I go to you, Silbert, to talk about solutions, I want to read a couple of our comments here on Facebook and our text. This one text says, Michelle, whatever happened to the December 31, 2017 deadline for illegal immigrants to leave or be removed from our country that PM Minnis made? This inaction is why these illegal people don't take our government and immigration laws serious. We keep joking. All right, I want to read a couple of the comments that you have been leaving here on Facebook. Wow, and there's quite a lot of them. Janet says, only God can fix this now, too far gone. Oh boy, I hope you're wrong, Janet. We got to do something. Peachy says, not because Haitians were here a long time gives them rights to this country. They are Haitians, meaning they have a country, Haiti. All right. Then we have Betty that says the owners of that farm are responsible for the mess we are in today. Betty is more than just that. More than just that. We have a whole lot of players in this game who have contributed to this problem. All right, let's see. We have a lot of comments, y'all. Willard says, good morning. Silbert is telling you the truth. When the farm home was destroyed, most of them moved to the mud and the peas. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Okay, this one says, Gray says, while this man has no intention of curbing this problem, he will continue to allow these illegals to stay in there. I think he was responding to the clip that we played from the Prime Minister at the House of Assembly the other day. And I'll read one more. This one from Alex says, Mr. Roker, thank you for the insight and information that you shared with us today. Thank you also for the service that you gave to your country, even though your job was not an easy one. Okay, let's go to Silbert Mills now, who wanted to talk about what are the, you said this is an easy problem to fix.
Yes, I think it is. I think it's an easy problem. And I spoke to the then Minister Brenson at 2017, 2018, when he came to Abaco to swear in some new citizens. He was excited that we got to regularize all who needs to be regularized. It's not being done by the cabinet anymore. A committee is now recommending who should receive status and all that stuff. They had all this in place. But I said to him at the time, I said, Minister, the simple solution, go back to how the American government treated Papa and my daddy. Everyone that receives or makes an application for a work permit should at the same time present evidence that they will be and have facility responsible to house the permit holder. In the absence of you being able to also house the individual you're applying for, the application ought not to be given consideration. It's a simple enforcement deal. Let Silbert Mills, if he wants to get a permit for a foreign person, produce that he has some place for that person to stay and the tenure of which he wants that individual to be. And once that time is up, do like America did. Okay, it's time. Mr. Mills, the application expired. Present the person to immigration to have them repatriated. The matter is, if there's enforcement, we will not have a problem. But you know what the government has done? By pattern, it is indicated that when they cannot solve a problem, they do whatever they can to legalize it. And if numbers was an example, when the government says, we can't do anything about it, we must legalize it. That's the pattern that was set, and I believe, hey, that's the foundation to which this particular issue has been built upon.
Wow. I want to read one more. You wanted to say something, sir?
Yeah,
okay.
I just want to say to Mr. Mills, the laws, the immigration laws of the Bahamas today states that at the expiration of your work permit, you, the employer, must return the individual to his country of origin. And if he doesn't do that, it's the failure of immigration, because that is the way the permit is given, based on the fact that the fellow is going to return this individual to his country of origin.
So in other words, the law's already on the books.
It's on the books.
If
enforcement
enforce them, doesn't matter.
Not wait the paper they written.
That's
on.
right.
Okay, I want to read one more comment from our Facebook viewer. This one is from Bertha. She says, illegal is my biggest problem in my country simply because I depend on the public systems. It is difficult for me having my kids in the hospital because every time I go into labor, it's 6-1 on the maternity ward. My daughter is 26 years old now. When she was in grade 5 in Sandilands Primary School, there were 40 children in the classroom. 6 were Bahamian, all other were Haitian children. No joke. My husband, who's a mason builder, it's difficult for him to get a job. Okay, so he brings up a very valid point. And that is that while we have been kicking this can down the road for generations, her daughter's 26, she said, this has been a huge strain on our systems to the detriment of the people of the Bahamas. So, with that in mind, what is the responsibility of us, the people, to ensure that we demand to receive what we are paying for in taxes, the services that we are supposed to be entitled to as a result of paying those taxes? What can we as a collective do to help solve this problem? Does it mean calling out the fellow who on Abaco now restaurant? What do we need to do? What should we as a collective be doing?
Let me say this. I don't know if this is my last speaking here, but as a Bahamian, I am so embarrassed of my government. After Hurricane Dorian, there's in the center of Marshaba, close to the police department, immigration department, that is where the Haitians gather, especially on the weekend, and block the whole road up. And we had immigration, you had the police and the defense force that is being so brutal towards Bahamians. And they would pass the Bahamians, the Haitians, and go and lock up Bahamians. And that would do my soul so much hurt to see that it seems like we have Haitians that are in the police force and the defense force that they sent to Abaco. And they were sent to Abaco to protect the Haitians and to beat down on the Bahamians. That is the sense of what has been happening since Hurricane Dorian. When you see Haitians set up a whole caravan of food wagons illegally, shops illegally on Front Street, right next to the authorities, and everybody has been turning the blind eye for 1 year and 7 months. It is heartbreaking to Kai Mills as a young Bahamian that everywhere you go, we are outnumbered by new Haitians. You go at the ferry dock, 200 is going over, and I don't recognize any of them. It is the quiet takeover. John Lewis, a great American, said, if you see something, say something. Then there's a great leader one time ago said, the Bahamas will be lost because Bahamians are afraid to fight to keep the Bahamas. The Haitians are fighting to come here, but we are not fighting to get them out. We know they must come, but there has to be some kind of structure. There has to be more balance. How could it be? Every place I go to, I am 6 to 1. There's 6 more Haitians than I am. Since the hurricane, it has exploded. And especially with the new Minister of Immigration, he has done nothing. His word means nothing to Bahamians, but it means everything to the Haitians. Go ahead, you're okay. Break the law as much as you can. As long as I have the power, you're good. And they understand that. And that is why the law is beating down on Abaconians. And the Haitian is meant to flourish throughout Abaco. They are becoming richer than they ever been. That the line is so long to send money out of this country that the people that are sending money out of the country has to shut it down because everything is going out because they have the economical power and they have the manpower. Therefore, we are in trouble in Abaco.
Wow. Oh boy. Wow.
It is hard being a Bahamian. It is hard being Abaconian. My Abaco is being sucked away. And we have not an MP to go to, not an immigration, not a prime minister, because he just said, go ahead and say that you're Bahamian. This land is yours. Vote for them, and you're good. That is a bad message to send throughout Abaco when we're hurting and we're looking for a healer to step in and to say enough is enough. This land called Abaco, 10 generations of Kai Mills people has been on this land, but we are now being overtaken, not quietly, they are boldly stepping because the law enforcement is looking the next way and saying to Kai, Hold it. Haitian first, second, and third. You get back. We're in trouble, Michelle. We're in trouble.
Something to add as another eye on the ground, Pastor Mills. Do you have something to add to that?
Yeah, like I say, that as we approach this problem, it's not an unknown problem to the government. They must be able to come up with a satisfactory plan of action, and not just an action that is lip service, but one that is serious, implemented. I know that with changes of government in the United States, it heavily influences what happens here. And I wouldn't be a bit surprised if you don't see the Biden administration's relaxing of immigration policies extend to the Bahamas by virtue of them consulting with us and saying you must consider doing certain things to regularize all those that are here. It's not going to be as easy a fix as we think, just showing up with manpower and grabbing people and sending them out. You have no place to put them. You've got to deal with COVID-19 now. You can't just take people and say, I'm taking you to Haiti, because you gotta get them tested with COVID. There's a myriad of challenges now that this country faced with this matter. And that's why I wanted to hear from, a statesman, one who is honorable in this department, to realize the Honorable Loftus Roker, that it's not as easy as rounding people up from immigration and taking them out, because there are some serious implications globally. We had this problem with the NGOs when they came here to help us with hurricane relief, because they saw that there were inhumane treatments of illegal persons. Many of the NGOs were prepared to withdraw their assistance to the Bahamas because they thought we were inhumane. When we went to the church and closed that those tent city that was around the church, there was great pushback. Just the other day, as you talk about the minister, the prime minister, just 2 weeks ago, the New Yorker wrote a scathing article charging the prime minister's country as being the most inhumane, insensitive man towards Haitians that the country has ever seen. This is what the New Yorker wrote about this current prime minister, who has no heart, they said about him. This
I'll
is
say
not
the same thing.
They got eyes on us.
While they get eyes on us, they don't live here. We have to take care of us. Somebody got to take the bull by the horn. And it should have happened a long time ago. When you have a situation that has escalated the way it has in Abaco, and we keep passing the buck, it will never solve itself. The Haitians that are already straight want us to be solved, and we keep passing the buck. When are we going to have that person that say that, my God, Abaco should be for Abaconians? How could 150, Michelle Malcolm, you know what's the biggest news? I did a video the other day. I think you missed that one. The biggest news in Abaco, in the Bahamas, in the world. Watch this. Baker's Bay has given the Epidem government over $15 million to build 47 homes 1 year and 4 months ago. The Haitians have already built 150 huge homes with solar panel. Where is the $15 million that the white homeowners give to help Abaco? People are still sleeping in cars. People are still sleeping in the bushes. When the foreigners have donated cash, $15 million over a year and a half ago, and not one nail has been knocked. This is inhumane to Abaconians. Where is the people money?
My God.
Why is Michelle Malcolm and the rest of them know about this story? Why are we going in this inhumane condition when the money has been donated by the foreigners 1 year, 4 months ago, and the Haitians have built 150 homes, and the government of the Bahamas have not cleared the land for 47. Watch this, Michelle. I just want to say this, then I'm gone. We don't need the government to clear the land, for the homes. We know exactly who and which homes were destroyed. They already have access to their property, water, and electricity is now available. All the government has to do, the honorable thing, is free up the money and build the homes on the land that the people almost lost their life. That is the honorable thing to do. What does it take 1 year and 4 months for the people to get their monies that was given to them?
My God. All right. I want to give the statesman the final word. Pastor Mills brought up a very good point. The fact that we also are facing the international community and their response to what we do, one way or the other. As someone who sat in that seat of responsibility as the minister with responsibility for immigration, what do you believe is the way forward, keeping in mind both the international community and our responsibility towards sovereignty?
But first of all, it is Bahamians who tell these international organizations that we're doing wrong.
Oh, dear.
That's the first thing. But secondly, I believe that Bahamians are capable of carrying out the law. And if we do that, to me, it doesn't matter what anybody say about me, so long as I am doing what I believe is right.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bahamians need to do that. Because in the end, we cannot blame foreigners for our problem. In the end, it's our fault. We have allowed people to come here and take over the Bahamas. So don't complain and don't blame the Chinese or the Filipino or the Haitian or the Dominican. We have allowed it to happen.
Yes.
And therefore, and again I say, we believe we are creating slaves, but we are not. But we believe that's what we're doing. And we shouldn't want to do it because we were once slaves as well.
If we keep this up, quite frankly, we may end up being
That's
the
right.
ones that are going to be the slaves.
That is right. You got it.
I am going to end this with a comment from Facebook, which says, Lisa here says, the love of money is the root of all evil. Greed has the Bahamas in the state that we are in.
Yeah.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Yeah. Gentlemen, Loftus, Roker, Pastor Silbert, Mills, Kai Mills, thank you so much for making this an incredible show today. My goodness. Thank you so much for being here today. Especially, listen, Mr. Mills and Pastor Mills, I love you all, right? But Loftus, Roker sitting in this seat? Oh, my God, I'm just so honored to have you here today. Thank you so much, Mr. Roker, for being a part of the show.
Thank you, too.
All right, and thank you to everyone who watched or listened via radio, tune in, Facebook, YouTube, whichever way you got here. Thank you so much for being a part of this show today. I really do appreciate all of you. A big thank you to all of my sponsors for making the show possible. Tomorrow is Wellness Wednesday, so you know what that means. Tune in to find out how you can achieve optimal health. I'm Michelle Malcolm. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a good afternoon.